podcast with David and Stacy Whited, where we break down current events and examine culture through the lens of conservative Christian values.
Our founding fathers evolved the idea that you and I have within ourselves the God-given right and the ability to determine our own destiny. But freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Man, that gets me every time.
Oh man, just like a beautiful lawn, it's got to be watered, got to be taken care of. You don't come across this incredible landscaped garden where things are trimmed and like it doesn't happen by accident. Now, once it's planted and growing, you don't have to. It's not every day, all day, but it has to be maintained. Everything of value has to be maintained. A good marriage has to be maintained, and our freedoms, nonetheless, have to be maintained because there's a group of people that wake up in the morning, they strategize, they plot, they got whiteboards, they plan it out the same way an NFL coach is planning out how do we attack that defense, with the plays. It's their consuming idea. There's a thing called the World Economic Forum. They get together and they strategize and they roll these plans out to a small number of people. It's not fiction. They brag about it. Matter of fact, they wrote a book called The Great Reset. But you know what? We have good guys on our side as well. We got a book called The Great Awakening, and somebody that gets up earlier than Klaus Schwab, a guy that puts in more time than Klaus Schwab, somebody that spends time knowing not only his plans, but he spends time studying God's plan. And a big chunk of this book, it's getting trashed, is actually scripture tied into it. A chunk of it. That's a pretty good plan to have. Put it together and is here to roll a piece of it out for you today from the Thrive Time Show, the one, the only, Clay Clark.
Yay!
Greetings. How are you guys?
Great. Man, this is a big weekend in Tulsa, Jerusalem.
Yes, actually, it's a lot of fun. The Tulsa World, the local newspaper that does not pro Make America Great Again, our major newspaper, they actually printed a headline using the phrase Tulsa Jerusalem. So that's one of my goals here. Is I want to rebrand Tulsa as Tulsa Jerusalem, and I want to move the D.C. capital of the United States of America to Tulsa. These are just little subtle goals I have, Dave. Dave, a lot of times I'm not asking for a lot. I'm not asking for a lot. What I am asking for is to rebrand Tulsa as Tulsa Jerusalem. So many great people and things are coming out of Tulsa right now.
I totally agree.
Well, we had a great time because we spent a little bit of time down there as well. We got to see Laura Trump. We got to see
Kash Patel.
Got to see Jackson Lawmeyer, the founder of Pastors for Trump, which has over 10,000 members about it. Stacy is a board member now of Pastors for Trump. And
we got to see you.
We got to see Clay.
Yep.
We did not get to see Vanessa personally, which was actually a bummer.
Yeah.
But we did get to see Clay. Nice consolation. And it's exciting that it's not advertised as much as what the deep state's doing, but there's a lot of people doing really good things. There is a concentrated effort. And I just want to break through this myth for you guys out there. This is not a 50-50 split. It's not in our country. Well, kind of half the people kind of like Joe Biden and half don't. It's everything tries to be presented as, well, it's kind of 50-50, kind of. It's not even close. The numbers are not even close. There's just the minority over here has their hands on a lot of levers that control what you see. But man, some of the most talented, some of the most driven, some of the most focused people in the world are on our side. You're seeing Jackson Lawmeyer right there. Joy Thayer from the documentary, The Trump I Know. These people are creating content. Laura Trump, I mean, we're talking about a person of faith and conviction, and prayer and understanding where God is in this mix. Laura Trump. We had an incredible interview and a great time.
With Kash Patel.
Kash Patel. Government Gangsters, author of Government Gangsters, one of the fastest selling, highest rising, is in the top 100 selling books in the world right now, Government Gangsters with Kash Patel. So there's just a lot of good things going on to be encouraged by. Something good happening that you don't see doesn't mean it's not happening. It just means you weren't there at the moment. There's Kash Patel. These are brilliant people doing great work.
That's some great product placement, by the way, as well. Kash Patel. I'll just tell people this. This is something I've learned, and everybody, you should take note of this. This is some fascinating stuff. Kash Patel will probably be a key, or for sure he will be a key member, but he might be, like the head of the Department of Justice, or he might be a President Trump's chief of staff. I mean, you can't really get closer to Trump's inner circle than Kash Patel. And then just moments ago, I just got off the phone with Eric Trump. We're lining out some upcoming dates and things we're doing. And I can tell you what I've discovered is that people close to President Trump, they all sip on Diet Coke. Now, my understanding, and this is secret stuff. My understanding is that if President Trump likes you, he will offer you a Diet Coke. So he'll say something subtle like, "Would you like a Diet Coke?" And you can't say no to the man who's fighting for freedom. He's a great guy. He wants to save our country. He's all in all day. Doesn't ask a lot from people, but he says, "Would you like a Diet Coke?" And so what I've been told is the people who are new to the circle, they go, I would like a Diet Coke. It doesn't matter if they've been on like a Coke fast, like if they're on an anti-carbonated beverage fast. If they've said, "I'm not going to drink a sugary beverage ever again," it's a 20-year streak, no soda or no pop, whatever you call it. They say, "I'm not doing it." But the moment he asks, they go, "I would like a Diet Coke." And then every interaction with him, he's always sipping on a Diet Coke. And there's sort of a shame that if you show up to the party without a Diet Coke, people kind of look at you like, what, do you not like Diet Coke? And so now when we get to the event there at Sheridan Church, without really even thinking about the profundity of the moment, Dave, I said, it's kind of a turning point, kind of a shifting. I said to Kash, "Kash, would you like a Diet Coke?" And he goes, "Ha, you're learning." And so we had 3 Diet Cokes ready for Kash. And then when Laura showed up, I said, "Laura, would you like a Diet Coke?" And she says, "You figured us out, haven't you?" So all I could say is Laura Trump is definitely one of those closest people to President Trump. So is Kash Patel. And the more I get close to the Trump inner circle, Dave and Stacey, I find that Diet Coke is almost like a secret handshake. It's almost like a secret, like basketball NBA players have elaborate handshakes they do before they start every game. Bringing a Diet Coke is the key into Team Trump. So if you're out there today and you say, "What do I need to do to get into the Trump inner circle?" I've been praying, I've been emailing, I've been calling my local elected officials. What do I have to do? Show up with a fresh, ice cold Diet Coke. That's the strategy, folks.
That is good to know. Very good to know. And what's interesting, Clay, is David and I, we do not drink very much soda, but when we do, we drink Diet Coke.
We do. We came preloaded with that app. That wasn't even after the fact.
We didn't know that about President Trump until this
We kind of did it in secret and shame a little bit. It's like there's no redeeming quality to it. I'm like, but if I'm gonna have a soda, I prefer a Diet Coke.
And sometimes people are like, "What's in your cup?" Well, it's actually a Diet Coke.
Yeah, most of the time. And
you
so
you guys are staying healthy. I'm just saying you might want to think about throwing health to the wind and start sipping on some Diet Coke.
Hey, we're trying to save America. You can't tell me Washington, when he was at Valley Forge, it wasn't all about health. It was about, hey, we're going to survive. We're going to fight. We're going to win this battle. We might lose a few of us, but, hey, we're going to make it.
We have no proof that George Washington wasn't sipping on a Diet Coke as he led his men. I mean,
there's nobody that can prove that.
You can't prove it. So with modern Fauciism, we must accept it, just like the masks. They say there's no proof that the masks work. So we need to go ahead. We need to go ahead and wear them, and we have no proof that George Washington wasn't sipping on Coke. So we might as well say he did, right? That's Fauciism. It's a crazy form of misinformation, mislogic that's happening. And Dave, you're seeing the mask mandates come back. You're seeing the lockdown rhetoric coming back, and now you're seeing 3 updates today.
Let's talk about this clown real quick here a little bit. I know you guys got a history. You were calling Fauci names, and you had a Fauci gnome, which is spelled with a K, I think. Fauci gnome. Before it was cool. There's a song. Who wrote the country song? I was country when country wasn't cool.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember. It was before us because country's always been cool. But you were throwing shade at Fauci when it wasn't even cool yet. And here's the thing. He just kind of survives like a cockroach, and he's there to kind of resell his same thing again.
Yeah, he's come back out about
masks. He's like the guy that makes candy corn. Like, nobody likes those little candy corns at Halloween, but they come back every year, and I don't know why, because maybe that likes them, but they just kind of keep coming back. That's like Fauci.
I think that people need to understand this for a second. When the lockdowns happened, there was many lies, but you had 4 lies that were set at scale. All right. So lie number 1 is we were told that if we didn't shut down the hospital, if we didn't lock down, the hospitals could get overrun. So that was the first lie. And I'm not attacking people in my family, but pretty much everybody in my family thought that was an accurate idea. And I was saying, what? Like, let's just say hypothetically that the hospitals are stacked and packed with massive numbers of people. Who cares? Like, I don't care. You can't suspend our First Amendment right to peaceably gather. It doesn't suspend Hebrews 10:25 that tells us do not forsake the gathering even as we draw closer to the end. What? So then the next lie was, well, these models, they said 2.2 million people might die from COVID, thus we might shut down. So you bring up a guy who talks primarily in 3-syllable words, Dr. Fauci, he gets up there and he says, the models, and he said, does with no emotion, there's no hype to it. You have to sound like it's kind of boring and like you're detached from it. That way people don't think that you're trying to screw with them, you know? So he says, the models that have said, unfortunately, that 2.2 million people might die from the virus, which the origins may have come originally from Wuhan, the laboratory. We don't. The information is coming in very quickly. And to mitigate the spread of an asymptomatic virus. Now, half the audience is going, I don't even know what asymptomatic
what
is.
Is he
the other half is
about?
going, what are we talking about? You know, other guys are going, I don't really know what he's saying, but he's going. So to stop the spread of the asymptomatic virus, to mitigate, we're going to have to do a situation where we lock down to protect ourselves from the virus. And so that is all. I'll be back tomorrow. And the masks, we have no evidence that masks will work, don't work, but we're working on it round the clock, 24/7. I actually worked 25 hours yesterday just to demonstrate my paycheck. I was 26 hours. Deborah and I, we went out to the scarf store 25 hours into the day. We were already busy, but we went out to the scarf store and we're going to mitigate and we'll be back tomorrow. And then every day you're going, what? The models are false. And then the PCR test, he comes out there with another 3-syllable idea. He says, the polymerase chain reaction tests are showing that the virus is spreading through asymptomatic individuals. Very, very concerning, very alarming, very troubling, but not to be too concerning. But we'll be back tomorrow. And you're going, what? So people are like, I don't know what's happening, but I think I got an asymptomatic. It's terrible, but not super bad. It could be. And then he starts bringing out graphs. So again, the way they lied to us, they said the hospitals may be overrun. Then the models that said 2.2 million people might die from COVID. Then they brought out the PCR tests. Then they started bringing out these graphs graphs that were connected to deaths. So they started on the TV screen. They had a ticker where it's like, tonight on Channel 6, unfortunately, 7 people have died from coronavirus. And notice the news anchors. They all do that fake sentimental voice.
Oh, yeah.
Tonight on Channel 6, unfortunately, 6 Tulsans have succumbed to the virus. And then, and so it'd be sports. Tonight in other news, tonight in other news, Major League Baseball, yada yada, was drafted, and the hometown hero was doing this, and yada yada. And the NFL looks to do yada yada. And back to the news. The news guy goes, unfortunately, one person has just succumbed to the virus. And they cue the music every night.
Yep.
And now they're doing it again. They're doing it again, Dave. They're doing it again, Stacy. And so I just grabbed my staff together, my employees at the time. By the way, we had almost 100% turnover as a result of me having principals. But I told the staff, look,
100%.
we're not going to lock down. I'm not kidding. It was almost 100% turnover. I think we had 4 people survive. And I said, we're not going to lock down. We're not going to quarantine. We're not going to hide from a virus that's less deadly than the flu. And we're all going to come to work. So I drove to work, and I noticed no one's on the highways. And I pull into my parking lot, and no one's in my parking lot. So there were like 5 people in my parking lot. So I call the team, boop, 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 and I go, hey, how come you're not at work? And they go, well, I wanted to respect the health of other people. And I go, here's the deal. And this is pre-Christ, Dave. I've had a little bit of a reawakening in my own life. But I'm telling people what happened. I said, well, if you want to have a boop and job, you're going to have to get your boop to the office here in the next few minutes. If not, I'm going to fire your boop with authority. So get to the office. And if you die from work, I'll be happy to send your family my condolences, but get to work. And so one by one, they show up at work like, we're here. No, I'm not kidding. They're showing up like at 11 o'clock going, so we're here. No one else is in the shopping center. Why? I'm like, because they're weak people. So then the city started showing up and taking photos of our license plates. People were reporting it to the city. People were taking photos of our license plates. And I'm not kidding. Then we started having witches, actual witches dressed up like witches, walking around our building doing seances because we were open. Now, the word corona is 666. So a lot of people don't know that, but the word corona is 666. And I knew the coronavirus was the Satan virus. And so anyway, that's what happened. Sued our mayor, turned our building into a church. Next thing you know, our Thursday church services start to have over 1,000 people attend. Often, on average, we'd have like 300 people. We'd have 1,000 sometimes. Sean Foyt and I did praise and worship rallies. And that culminated into what you now know as the ReAwaken Tour. And what's so exciting now, guys, is the conversation I just had with General Flynn and Eric Trump, they get it. And we have, as of today, I'm not sure when the show will come out, we have 419 days to go until the election. Wow. You say, how do you know that? I have a ticker above my desk that counts down the days, the hours, and the seconds until the election. And all I can think about all day, every day, is leading people to Christ and getting people out to vote. That's all I care about. That's all I'm focused on. And we've got to save this nation. But thankfully, through the ReAwaken Tour, Eric Trump, General Flynn, Kash Patel, Dr. Tenpenny, Dr. Mikovits, Thomas Renz, the Flyover Conservatives, the Mel K Show, His Glory, Amanda Grace, Julie Green. We've all started to galvanize as one team. And these libertarians and conservatives, and I would say even Democrats, are all coming together
a lot
as Project Save America.
That is so true.
I mean, at the meet and greet events that we hold, I meet more people that have voted Democrat their whole life that are now attending these events. Because they're like, this is not. And I think a big part of what helped make that happen is Robert Kennedy Jr. Because when he came out and started talking, I think they would hear him, and it was like, wait, this is what it used to mean to be a Democrat. And they're like, what is this AOC, Nancy Pelosi bill?
They've gone so extreme.
And they're forcing things. They're eliminating free speech. Like, we used to be the free speech guys, you know, and they're looking at this stuff, and they're like, what's really going on? And if you just take 2 minutes, turn off the news, and actually look at what's happening, they kind of sober up. Yep. And they're some of the most enthusiastic people I've met at the events.
Yeah, you know, I'll say this too, Dave. What's happening is people over time see your motives for something, you know. So with the Flyover Conservative Show, you guys have built your audience over time by honestly and objectively reporting the news. That's what you guys do. It's honestly, objectively reporting the news from a Christ-focused perspective, and you articulate that better than I just did. But that's the idea. Well, people always know they're going to get the news from you from a Christian perspective. That's what they're going to get. So people start to say, okay, that's what the Flyovers are all about. People start to come to the ReAwaken Tour, and they go, okay, I get it. It's going to be unbelievable energy. It's going to be sold out, and there's going to be 70-plus speakers. And I'm going to be able to name my price. So I just talked to a guy this morning who he reaches out to me and he says, I've been to multiple ones. Can I get 4 tickets for $100 for my kids, please? Yes. And that's the answer is yes. And the answer is yes. The reason why I texted him back, yes, is because I'm trying to save our country. I'm not trying to make this the world's an opportunity to profiteer from this, nor am I attacking anybody who does profit. But we got to save this country. And for anybody out there, if you go to timetofreeamerica.com, timetofreeamerica.com, and you request tickets for the October ReAwaken America Tour at Trump Doral or the Turali, it's Tulare. It's Tulare. It's just outside of Fresno. I'm still working on the pronunciation. Tulare, just outside of Fresno. It's in California. It's in December. So we've got the ReAwaken Tour, Miami in October. Then we've got Tulare, California coming up here in December. And again, you can name your price to these events. And we have somebody out there right now. Dave, I'm going to call her right now because this is a winner of a Backstage pass. And this might go bad. It might be these things where you say, that was a fail. But we're going to see here.
Who's it? Clay Clark.
Let me see. Here we go. It might work. This might be these things where you go, we should never do this again. But I think we're going to get it done here.
That's kind of how Clay lives his life.
Okay. Can you pick up the phone now? Okay. I'm going to get it. It's a little bit awkward. I'm trying to call Carissa. Carissa Gadd. She's a Backstage pass winner who apparently listens to the Flyover shows, Flyover Conservative Show every day. And so she's got a 417. If you're right now and you are Carissa Gadd and you're listening to today's broadcast, I need you to pick up the phone. It's be awkward, Dave. If we can, Laura called President Trump from the ReAwaken Tour, from the Sheridan Church there, from the Reignite event there that Pastor Jackson did, and President Trump picked up. I'm going to have to work with our listeners and tell them, listen, to be a member of the Flyover Conservative family, I just need you to pick up the phone at all times, 24/7. Be ready.
There's no days off.
So
there's no days off.
Yeah, you got to. Well, hopefully this is Carissa Gadd, Dave, and hopefully she picks up here. I'm going to call her again. You know why? Because, Dave, in my life, if I'm trying to reach somebody, I'll usually call them 3 to 10 times. Here we go.
We've been on the other end of that.
Yeah, I've been on.
This is what I do, and I don't know if this is an effective strategy, but it's a strategy that I do. There we go. A good ringage too, Dave. You would hope. This is a backstage pass winner here.
You're dealing with a guy that has a slogan in his book that said, until somebody will buy, cry, or die.
This is the strategy. Now, let me walk down to what that means. One is if somebody cries, it means they say, "Stop calling me," and then the second is they buy something. That's always
there you
exciting.
go.
The third is if they're physically dead, then that's awkward. But what you'll do is you'll transition. You'll say,
"Hello,
hi. This is Clay Clark. Who is this?"
this is Carissa Gadd."
Hey, you're the winner of the Backstage Pass for the ReAwaken America tour. Now, real quick, my team's going to talk to you in just a second, but where are you from? What state are you in?
Well, here's the thing. I live in two places. So I live half the time in Florida, Naples, Florida, half the time in Springfield, Missouri.
Okay, well, you have won the Backstage Pass sponsored by the Flyover Conservatives. So if you'll stay on the phone just for a minute, I'm going to have a member of my team. You get to come backstage to meet Eric Trump, Don Jr., Roseanne, General Flynn, and you can avoid me. They cover me with police tape, so you don't have to meet me. You can meet Dave and Stacy.
No, you're my favorite.
Oh, don't say that. That might catch on. Okay, hey, James, are you here? James. Okay, we'll get him. James and Devin, hang on the phone here. This is live radio here. James, Devin, sweet mother of all that is holy. Okay, one second. Okay, we need to get this woman a Backstage Pass. Okay. Okay, we did it. That's a Backstage Pass winner, Dave. And for anybody phone calls and 6 text messages. I was working on that all hour. So if you want to get a ticket to the ReAwaken America tour and you want to win a Backstage Pass, you use the promo code FLYOVER when you request a ticket, and that's going to get you entered in for a chance to win a Backstage Pass. Also, that gains you access to the VIP. It's kind of a meet and greet event, and we don't want you to be there unless you're a member of the Flyover community. So you get access to the meet and greet event. Also, you get a discount off a VIP ticket. So, Dave, but beware if you text 918-851-0102, 918-851-0102, I may call you in this case 4 times and text you 6 times within 30 minutes to reach you. We got her, Dave.
That is awesome.
You just
Clay.
demonstrated what it takes to save America in a microcosm right there. Now just expand it nationally. Everybody wanted Donald Trump to do 80 million things to save America. We just need 80 million of us doing one thing each day to save our own country, and Clay just showed you how to do it.
That was the example. I love it.
Thank you, guys. Now, real quick, I will say this before you have to hang up on me. If you ever call someone up like that and then they answer, they go, "Listen, I'm at a funeral." Then you go, "Well, can you step outside and get a ticket?" You have to just be ready for the position. This person's deceased. They're dead. They're no longer alive. You go, "Well, why have got you? Do you want a ticket?" You got to be ready for that transition, Dave. When you have the strategy of cry, buy, or die, you call them all until they cry, buy, or die. You got to be ready.
You actually sound a little bit more like Jesus all the time because he kind of said some things like that. So I think he would have fit right in.
All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you putting up with me today. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Clay.
Thanks for coming on, Clay.
Our founding fathers evolved the idea that you and I have within ourselves the God-given right and the ability to determine our own destiny. But freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Hello, Flyover family. Join me every Wednesday for the Prophetic Report at 11:11 Central. You can find it on Rumble. You can find it on the Flyover app. We have such an incredible time of hearing from all of these different prophetic voices like Robin Bullock, Julie Green, Barry Wunsch, Amanda Grace, and Hank Kuhneman. Every week, it's either 5 or 6 different prophets that are speaking, and what's interesting is God is speaking through them, and all of these voices come together like puzzle pieces. It is so exciting to hear what the Lord is saying. We're hearing from medical. We're hearing from military intelligence. We're hearing from the financial world. We're hearing from mainstream media. But the most important is, what is God saying? He has not fallen off the throne. He's not nervous. He's not chewing his nails. He is in control. He has plans to prosper us and not to harm us. What a great time to be alive, and I'm so excited for you to join me every Wednesday at 11:11. What time it is. It's time for an economic update with Dr. Kirk Elliott.
How are you? I love coming back every single week to do the show. It's like truly one of my favorite things ever.
We do too. We love it. And our Flyover family loves it.
I would love it more if there was more good news to talk about. But at least you always have solutions for news. But like, give us what's going on in the world. I kind of look forward to these, but I'm kind of just ready for like good stuff.
Yes.
Well, I've got good solutions. I don't have necessarily good news.
You can't change the news cycle and the World Economic Forum's move and CBDCs and.
Yeah, don't kill the messenger, right? Because it's like I'm not the politicians. I'm not the politicians that are making all the stuff that we have to talk about and come up with solutions for. But you know what? God's always got a good solution for everything. He's not confused. He's not befuddled. He's not up there thinking, I don't know how to get through this thing, right? But if we're listening, he'll give us his wisdom and his discernment and his intuition and his knowledge and his victory and his courage and boldness and everything that's within God we can have, right? So that's why I'm excited to do these, even though we have to talk about yucky news to show people what we have to protect ourselves from, right? But the good thing is there's an amazing solution, right? So So there was last weekend, a few days ago, Chat GPT, open artificial intelligence. We've been talking about this for a while, right? How it's going to replace people's jobs, and estimates that we've talked about before on this show are talking about 2/3 of Americans and Europeans are going to lose their jobs within the next 5 years to a computer. 20% of the global workplace is going to lose their jobs to a computer globally. 20%, one out of every 5 people. I mean, that's a lot of jobs being lost. Now you're not going to lose the kind of low paying manual labor jobs like a plumber or dishwasher.
If you've had any plumbers come by, though, that's not low paying.
No, they're expensive.
Those kind of trades, though, are probably elevating because fewer people know how to do electrical or HVAC, and those are kind of becoming in the future. You're gonna hope like your daughter marries a guy with the HVAC. Went to trade school. I got a guy who went to Berkeley. Nah, dump that guy.
Nah.
Dump that guy. You're gonna be broke. You want the guy from the trade school that knows how to do heating and air conditioning.
True.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, whenever the plumber electrician comes over to the office, it's like, there goes a few $100, like right there, boom, for like 15 minutes, right? But you're seeing like a lot of the high-paying, more white-collar jobs that are going to go away. Imagine a lawyer, for example, where you could have the best lawyer in the world could be a computer, right? Because it can look at all the previous statutes, all the previous case law, use our algorithms and put everything together to come up with the perfect defense, right?
Yep.
I can't see a world where an accountant is even going to have a job within the next 5 years. When a computer can sift through all of your company's financial data, which would take a whole team of Deloitte and Touche people, like a month to go through a big, gigantic corporation, where it could take a few hours with a supercomputer deciphering through every single data point for decades, right? And I mean, so you look at that, the world is changing, but yet I've never been concerned about what we do with intuition and the wisdom and the discernment that God gives us, right? Because you can't ever replace that with a computer. So Chat GPT, open artificial intelligence, can replace logic, but you can't ever replace that, right? In part. So, but I did a study this weekend, actually a little experiment, not a study, and it sort of creeped me out, to be quite honest. So I went on Chat GPT and I downloaded the app, right? And it's like, okay, I'm going to ask it a heart question, like, and see how it responds.
Okay.
So, you know, when you're young and dating and not obviously Stacy and not obviously Joe either, right? But it's like you break up with somebody, right? And it's like you never want to hurt their feelings. So I decided I'm going to ask it that question. It's like, how do you break up with somebody and not hurt their feelings? That's the question I asked ChatGPT.
It's pretty complex.
I mean, there's a lot to that when you think about it. It's like you're destroying a relationship, but you don't want them to feel bad about it. So I typed that in, and within like seconds, this paragraph comes like just written out word by word. And it's like, man, this is beautiful. This is like amazing. I mean, truly, it was like, but then it's like, man, this kind of creeped me out because ChatGPT kind of had the heart in the message. It understood the question I was asking.
Whoa.
How do you dump somebody and do it without hurting their feelings? And it figured it out. I mean, it gave me a really good response. It's like, ah, man, that's like something that I would probably say. I mean, that was really good.
And you have 2 PhDs, but still, I bet the ChatGPT was smart enough to not use the word dumped.
Yeah, they didn't use the word dumped, and they didn't say it's not you, it's me, right? It did a really good job, and to me, it's like, oh my word, no wonder Elon Musk and the CEO of Google are both saying that let's cool our jets on some of this stuff. We're afraid that computers are getting too smart, and it actually is going to overtake the human element in jobs, but yet. So I was sort of concerned, but part of me is like, it can't. Like, so I started thinking, imagine where Apple would be if a computer were running it instead of having the vision and the creativity that Steve Jobs brought to the table, that was God-given. I mean, you still have to have that dreamer type aspect, that I've got this idea that God plants in our hearts and minds. And then you could use a computer to actually fulfill the day-to-day operations to get it done, right? But there's some things that a computer just can't do, right? That only a creation of God can do. And that's where dreams and being a visionary comes in, and foreseeing something in the future that people might need that you have, that there's no way that a computer could figure that out, right? So because only God can. Only God can. But as I was reading this, then typing this out, I thought this ChatGPT stuff is really smart. Like it's really smart. So it creates these algorithms for the future, and it goes through every data point and everything. And so over the weekend, somebody else, I saw this on a research article, asked ChatGPT this question. And it was, when are the big tech companies going to go bankrupt, and when does singularity happen? So two different things, right? So singularity is basically the convergence of man and machine where the machines win, right? That's basically what singularity is, where a computer can do something better than a human can do, would be how in layman's terms, I would define singularity. So, and you know, looking back even a few weeks ago, it's like, oh, that's maybe 10 years down the road, right? But ChatGPT came back with this weird response, like uberly weird response. And it is speculative bankruptcy rate of large tech companies, 75% chance it happens within the next 90 days. It's like,
what?
I mean, seriously, this was ChatGPT's response, that they're expecting massive correction in large tech companies on the stock market within the next 90 days. And that singularity is right here. So then it also answered other questions that weren't even asked. A speculative bankruptcy rate of large healthcare companies, 59% over the next 90 days. And bankruptcy of large financial companies, 69% chance within the next 90 days. It's like, oh my word. So what does ChatGPT know that we don't know?
Right.
So here, using my 29 years of experience and following the markets and figuring this out, okay, I'm not going to rely on ChatGPT. What is my brain and what's my heart telling me, right? So here's where I think ChatGPT might be onto something, right? Because every September, historically, is the worst month of the year for the S&P 500. Every October is the worst month of the year for the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Are those two within the next 90 days? Yep, they
Yes.
sure are. They're like now,
Yep.
or within 45 days from now. Well, January 1st of this year, which is just like kind of like 90 days from now, is when the BRICS nations add Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, and Iran to the mix, giving them 6 out of the 9 largest oil producing countries in the world. Petrodollar will die, right? So here's, if I know this and I've written it down someplace or we've talked about it on the air, which we have, sure enough, the tentacles from ChatGPT are going through all of the internet computer world, finding these statements, finding these data points, and coming up with within the next 90 days, we're going to have a big, massive collapse. 75% chance that it's going to happen, right? So it's like, oh my word. So here's where I think it might be onto something. Now, my heart and my mind and all the decades of experience are telling me kind of what ChatGPT spit out in like 10 seconds. But it's so, is it right or is it wrong? It's like, I don't know, it might be right, right? Because the fundamentals are there. The foundational issues that cause a collapse are there. And ChatGPT is just giving us the probability of when it happens. So I look at that and I think, man, it also answered my question on how do you dump somebody kindly, right? So it's like, this technology is pretty impressive. It is no wonder that Elon Musk and the chairman of Google, that they are sort of kind of freaking out, maybe having a little bit of buyer's remorse, or kind of like, the guy who created Jurassic Park, in the movie. It's like, what did I create? These monsters are eating everybody. It's like, I didn't intend for this to happen. Right. And it's like, but this is the unintended consequences of something that they thought would be an efficiency gain could actually destroy society.
Yeah.
Right. And so when you look at that, you say, what are the implications? Well, the implications are people are going to truly have to search their hearts and their minds and ask God for peace, ask God for creativity. Because here's where part of me isn't concerned at all, because God is greater.
Sure.
God is greater in everything. Right. So he's greater than these computers that humans created. God gave the creativity to create this horrible system, right? That was intended for an efficiency gain, but could actually destroy society as we know it. But yet in the midst of the storm, there's always peace that God brings. He always gives us financial solutions to thrive financially. He gives us relationship solutions to thrive relationally, right? He always gives us solutions, always, 100% of the time. But 100% of the time, are we listening? And are we willing to receive it? I don't know. Probably not, because humans are full of strife. It's because we don't really accept a lot of what God's provision is there, but it's always there for us. So in the world of finances, I look at that and I think, okay, let's go into gold and silver to thrive, to reallocate into strength, to take advantage of these markets, not be a digital slave in their digital world, right? This is our answer. But you shared this video with me this weekend about these gold guys and what's happening to their firms. And I would love to watch that, right? Because I think the powers that be know that gold and silver are an answer and a solution that God is giving us. So they're trying to shut that down too. I think we should watch that video and then chat about it real quick.
It is very interesting.
Yeah, it is. We'll play that real fast.
Certified letters in the mail from my bank. And I'm thinking, what could those be about? Unfortunately, she wasn't home. It was on a weekend. It came on a Saturday, and she wasn't home to get them. So all weekend I had to stress out about it to see what the heck that's about. I've literally never gotten a certified letter from my bank or any bank in my life. But I kind of figured I knew what it was. So Monday morning, I was at the post office to pick up the certified letters. And I have 6 accounts with a certain bank, a regional bank in Ohio. I'm not going to name the bank right now, but they decided they don't want to do business with me anymore. So I'll read some of the letter to you guys. And I've heard of this happening before. I just didn't believe that it would happen to me. So, dear customer, we're writing about your account. After a recent review, we have decided to end our relationship with you and close your accounts referenced above. as stated in your account agreement, we can close your account at any time for any reason with or without notice. We will begin our closing process on September 6, 2023. So they gave me basically a month. And in the letter, it says they're going to close even my credit cards I have with them. Isn't that nice of them? So basically, they're just closing all my accounts. They don't want to do business with me. They won't tell me why. I went to my local branch, who I have a good relationship with, talked to the manager. She tried to find out. They wouldn't tell her. So here I was, left thinking, wow, what is going on? You know, what do they think I could have done? I don't know what I did. I didn't do anything. We follow all the rules here. Licensed by the state. I have an AML program. I'm very careful what I do. I know how regulated this business is, and it is very, very regulated. So I have to be very careful what I do. And I've been in business a long time. I know what to watch out for and avoid certain things or whatever. So I adhere to the law, and I've never had a problem, never. And it's very, very stressful when this happens. It's never happened to me in my life. I've never had my banks closed. And I had multiple accounts. Even my kids' account with them was closed, and my wife's account closed. And to me, this is just more confirmation to what's going on. I don't think the banks like this type of business. I don't know what they think we're doing here, because everything's 100% legitimate. But for some reason they don't like it, and we all probably know why.
Okay, that's interesting, Dr. Kirk. When he says we all probably know why, what do you think he's saying?
Well, so for a little bit of back reference on that, there was a precious metals dealer, like a little local mom and pop shop that you'd see on any main street in America, right? But it happened to three different people, three different gold dealers. None of them were the big, huge banks. They were just regional banks. But so here's where these are not big outfits and they're not big banks, right? But what I think what's happening is you're getting pressure from the top, from the big banks. It's like, shut down the precious metals industry, right? Well, let's not give any kind of alternative currency systems any kind of leverage. Not because they're wanting to change the way money is done and globally. They want to change the whole system altogether to go to central bank digital currency. Well, here's what I believe is one of God's solutions to be not a digital slave in their digital world, is use tangible assets like gold or silver, but really silver, that you can use for barter, that you can trade back and forth with merchants if they don't want the central bank digital currency, that's actually thriving in times like this. It's doing really well when paper assets and digital assets are falling apart, right? Like what we saw from ChatGPT, 75% chance that large tech companies go bankrupt in the next 90 days, right? I mean, so people are looking for options, they're looking for solutions. And like I've said a bajillion times on your show and others, is I would rather be 9 months early, 6 months early, 3 months early than 1 day late. Yeah. Because you never know. So it just amplifies our position that we've been talking about. It's like, don't have too much money in the bank. You never know when your bank is going to close your account. Like Nigel Farage or Dr. Merkel or these three people, right? That were just gold dealers, didn't do anything wrong. They're just helping people, but they have a different agenda than what the globalist banking cartels have. And so their accounts got shut down.
Is this, right? Do you think this has to do with the CBDCs and what happened with BRICS in August?
I think that it does. I mean, I think not necessarily what happened with BRICS, but I think for certain CBDCs, because you go back to what we've talked about on previous shows, Bank for International Settlements, Project Icebreaker, was the first one that said, hey, if we don't like the use of funds, if your ideology doesn't match up with ours, then we're not going to even permit the bank wire, right? So then they took it one step further with Project Aurora that says real-time transaction monitoring of all transactions for every person, every company at every bank in every country. That's everyone who has a bank account. Now, when you couple that with Dr. Pippa Malmgren's statement that says CBDCs are going to be programmable money, the ability to cut you off from buying or selling if your digital social profile doesn't measure up, these are all kind of evidence that everything that they're saying, they weren't fibbing about, right?
Right.
Yeah.
These are ideological divorce agents of you and your money. So if you don't comply with their global standard of what they think the perfect global citizen should be, they're going to cut you off from your bank accounts. I think
crazy.
So I don't think that has anything to do with BRICS, Stacey. I think that has everything to do with central bank digital currency as a whole.
Yeah.
And the whole concept of programmable money, the whole concept of ideological testing to see whether or not you're going to be able to buy or sell. See, you create a crisis that's bad enough, people will give up their freedoms, right? They simply just will. And you see a crisis that's bad enough, what are we going to do? We're going to go to the government, but it's a hard pill to swallow that says we want what you have because you can cut us off from buying or selling. Why would we want that? So I think what we're going to start to see in a world where there's no guarantees, here's my guarantee. They're going to have a lot of attractive, shiny things out there, a lot of carrots that they're going to dangle out in front of you to accept their system. And what I think is going to come, this is just my heart speaking, no evidence for it, would be universal basic income. It's like you take our central bank digital currency, we're going to guarantee you a monthly income stream. Who's going to want to say no to something like that, right? Because we're already seeing it in different cities. You know, universal basic income is being promoted to single moms in New York City. If it's a government-run digital bank that has the ability to cut you off from buying or selling, what else is a government-run program? Social Security, right? So it's like you're not going to get Social Security unless you sign up for our system, right? So I see these kind of draconian things starting to happen. But so what does this poor guy that's on that video do?
Also, say too, also you have a different attachment to the boat you're on when they smash all the life rafts.
Yeah, for sure. See, he doesn't think that he has options. It's like, okay, you will search for a different bank, right? So like there's different Patriot-owned banks that are not going to take this. I'm thinking of like Old Glory Bank, for example. Now, they don't take commercial accounts, only personal accounts. But you look at their board of directors, okay, you've got Larry Elder and you've got Dr. Ben Carson and people who think like we do, right? So that's a cool first step. They don't take commercial accounts, though. So I think what's going to happen is what we've talked about before, states' rights coming to the forefront, state-chartered central banks backed by gold, get out of the Fed system, get away from the Fed now, get away from that central bank digital currency. That's, I think, ultimately the solution. But in the meantime, how do you get through some of the pain that he's dealing with? Well, he's going to have to search long and hard for a bank that will take him because I bet he's been blacklisted on all kinds of lists. That's what happened to Mercola. That's what happened to Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage tried to get 8 other bank accounts. Nobody would let him in, right? So you allocate into silver, use it for barter, do it now before it's too late, right? It's like, I'm never an urgency kind of a guy. I never have been. It's like, well, I'll give you my advice. I'll give you my wisdom that Holy Spirit guides me with, and just pray about it, think about it. When you come to have that same peace that I do, give me a call back. We'll help you out, right? For the first time in almost 3 decades of a career, it's like I do feel kind of a sense of urgency because we're getting to that point of critical mass where now you are seeing people's bank accounts being shut down because of their ideology, where it's actually not speculation anymore. It's actually happening, right? So it's like, I'm not saying you have to do it yesterday or it's the end of time, right? It's like, no. But when you see things like that, just get things done quicker. Don't delay. Don't let the dust settle, right? Just take your decision, act, move forward, and get out of harm's way.
So I want to make sure I understand. Why do you think they're going after those? Because it could be used for bartering? Why would they be going over to those specific businesses?
I would say because you can use silver for bartering. It's a private transaction, right? When you use it for bartering, and it can't be taxed. So you can't tax something that's private. This is why they're trying to get rid of paper money and why the M2 money supply has gone down by $1 trillion just this year alone.
Wow.
They're pulling paper out of the system in preparation for digital money. They can track everything about you, when you buy, when you sell, where you travel, what you're getting, right? Because once they know everything about you, they can tax you everything about you, right? They can tax.
Yeah.
They can't really tax stuff that's private. That do people report every cash transaction that they have if they're selling something at a garage sale or farmer's market or whatever? It's like, probably not. I don't know. I've never done those things really. I mean, had garage sales as a kid, but I'm sure, even if you're a waiter or a waitress, right, at a server, do they report every cash tip? Probably not. I'm just guessing.
Right.
I mean, I don't know, but this is where I bet the IRS is guessing as well. It's like, they're probably not. So therefore, we want to control everything about everybody, know everything about them, because we need to generate more government revenues. I think that's what it all boils down to: increasing government revenues through taxation and people control, and keep
the monitoring
in line with the masses. Yeah,
that makes sense. Okay, so Flyover family, you can go to flyovergold.com. It's a landing page. It's a great place to get information. But when you scroll down to the bottom, there's a place you can fill out your information. When you do, it will get you in line for a free consultation. And you can talk to somebody on Dr. Kirk's team to get your questions answered. Anything that you have, they're going to be able to help you through that process. You can also call 720-605-3900. Again, it's 720-605-3900. Now, Dr. Kirk, when they do that next step is a free consultation. What can they do? You have IRAs. They can just bring their own money. They say they have cash in the bank, and they're like, okay, I want to get this out of the bank, get cash. What are other options when they do work with you all?
So IRAs, all of the all the different kinds: simples, SAPs, traditionals, Roths, inherited. If it's an IRA in the name, we can do something with it. Just a brokerage account that you might have at Schwab or Merrill Lynch or your bank, right, or your checking savings accounts. Any kind of, that would be a non-IRA asset. We can do all of the above. Now, outside of an IRA, you can take delivery of it, or you can have it stored. Again, something that we'll walk you through when you meet with one of my amazing advisors. Our goal is to hear your dreams, your passions, your concerns, your fears, and then melt those fears away by coming up with a strategy for success moving forward that will get you out of the path of this hurricane and this government overreach and get you into a place of safety.
Man, that is so good and so true. So Flyover family, you can do that today. Go to flyovergold.com. Make sure you put your information in, or you can call 720-605-3900. Dr. Kirk, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for everything that you're doing to help to educate us so we can make better decisions for our future. We really do appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Are you having a hard time sleeping at night, thinking, what am I going to do about my finances?
Times are really changing. They're changing fast. Let me give you a quick example of how. In 1920, if you had a $20 bill and 1 ounce of gold, you could go into any men's clothing store and buy an entire suit. You could buy the jacket, the shirt, the belt, shoes, the whole bit. Today, that $20 bill, what's it going to get you?
Not much.
Maybe the socks, maybe a handkerchief, but the 1 ounce of gold could still buy you the entire suit at any men's store in America. That's the difference. That's what inflation does to your dollar. It's a deflating dollar caused by inflation. Now today, that's happening faster than ever. You need somebody that you trust that can help get you out of a fake currency and into something that's going to keep you safe.
And we know a guy that has 2 PhDs by the name of Dr. Kirk Elliott. We have known him for over 25 years, and he's someone we completely trust.
You need somebody that you can get a hold of, somebody that's going to be there for you to get back out of it, and then maybe back into the stock market, maybe back into something else when things settle down. But right now is not that time. You need somebody that you trust and somebody you can call and make those worries go away.
That's exactly right. So you can go to flyovergold.com, fill out your information for your free consultation, or you can call 720-605-3900. Do it today.
You'll be glad you did.
Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented My Pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. My Pillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
The best sleep just got even better. Whether you have a MyPillow or not, you need to get the brand new MyPillow 2.0. Call or go to MyPillow.com now. Use your promo code, and for a limited time when you buy one, you'll get a second one absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
Visit MyPillow.com.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Flyover Conservatives podcast with David and Stacy Whited. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave us a comment below. Lastly, if you enjoyed today's podcast, share with those who came to mind. Be blessed and make it a great day.